Hello everyone, back tuning in to the Spring 2017 verification from gazweathers.com. So, at the end of February, we released the spring forecast. And, of course, we've come to the end of spring. We're actually into summer now. And, as always at GazWeathers, we go back and we have a look at what happened in the season that's just gone, how our forecast did, how it performed, and if things went right or if they went wrong, because when we issue these long-range forecasts, it's always very important that we go back and sort of analyse how we did. Some forecasters like to sort of muddy the waters and pretend that they have a 100% accuracy. We don't do that at GazWeathers. No long-range forecaster, in my opinion, can ever have a 100% accuracy record. It's highly experimental what we're doing, and it's important to go back and see what happened when you get to the end of the season. So that's what we're going to do right now. Now, the GazWeathers.com Spring 2017 forecast was for a warmer than average spring. Perhaps not excessively warm, but we did go for temperatures to be over a degree above average, so we was expecting another pretty mild, pretty warm season. We also thought it'd be a little bit more unsettled compared to the seasons that had gone before. We had a bit of a dry run through the autumn and winter of 2016 to 2017. We thought the spring might be a little bit wetter, maybe come out a little bit on the wetter side. Well, we certainly got the temperature signal right. If anything, we probably underestimated the temperatures quite significantly. So these were, or this is the temperature anomaly for the spring of 2017 from the UK Met Office. And you can see it was a very, very warm spring indeed. So Scotland and Northern Ireland coming out with temperature anomalies of around 1.5 degrees to 2 degrees above average. And the vast majority of England and Wales coming out with temperature anomalies of 2 degrees or more above average. In fact, some places did beat the all-time warmest spring on record, which for most people was set in 2011. So it was an exceptionally mild spring, exceptionally warm spring. And as I say, we probably did underestimate the temperature potential there to some degree. That's set against 61 to 1990, the old temperature average. What about a more modern average? You have a look at 81 to 2010. We can see that, again, it was a very warm spring. Maybe the anomaly is not quite as high as if we set it against 61 to 1990. Remember, 61 to 90 is an old and cold temperature average. It encompasses the cold decade of the 1960s when there was loads of cold winters, summers were poor, and all the seasons really tend to be on the colder side in the 1960s. So that's a colder overall temperature average. This one, 81 to 2010, sort of takes into account the warming that has occurred in the 1980s and 1990s and in recent years too. So set against this warmer average, it isn't quite as excessively hot for the spring, but it is very significantly milder than average. As you can see, all places coming out above average. Western areas are nearer to normal. There the anomaly is around a degree above average. Northern and eastern areas, the anomaly is still sort of 1.5 to 2 degrees above average. So whichever temperature average we use, it was exceptionally warm spring and probably warmer than the GazWeathers.com spring forecast anticipated, although we did go for a warmer than average spring. So we was right with the direction of travel, we just didn't quite get the extremity. I do say this with long-range forecasting generally, actually. It's very hard to pin down the extremes. In my view, with a long-range forecast, you can pick up on the trends, you can pick up on the direction of travel if you're getting it right, but when you get an extreme season, a record-breaking season, be it warm or cold, be it dry or wet, that's much harder to pinpoint. Having a look at precipitation, and this side of the forecast went a little bit wrong because we went for quite an unsettled season. Actually, it came out on the drier side, again, another dry season. So most parts of the country were drier than average, set against 61 to 1990. We see that eastern areas come out with just 50-70% of their rainfall average. Western areas are a little bit closer to normal, but nowhere really having above average rainfall, except maybe a little splotch there somewhere around Cumbria. But most places come out average or drier than average, set against 61 to 90. And if it's set against 81 to 2010, again, it's same story. Eastern and southeast of Scotland, probably the driest area of the country, quite interestingly. Also southeastern England. But wherever you look, again, it's either average precipitation or it's drier than average. And we did have an exceptionally dry period through the earlier part of the spring as well. Of course, it turned a little bit more unsettled in May. So I think that side of the forecast wasn't as good, actually. We didn't get that right. We did get the temperature side of things right, but again, we didn't quite get the extreme warmth for the temperature that we have had. So in some ways it was okay forecast, in other ways it wasn't all that good. I'll leave everyone to make their own judgment about the spring forecast, and in any case the main thing is that we have verified that forecast, and everyone can make their own judgment about how we did. No cherry picking of our sort of progress and our forecast with this forecast or any long range forecast that we issue at Gadsworth. We're into a summer now, of course, which means that the long range is moving on to the autumn. We've already issued our summer forecast, and we will verify that as well at the beginning of September. Now the long range bandwagon is moving on to autumn, which means that a week on Sunday we'll have the first seasonal model roundup for the autumn of 2017, and then next month we'll begin to look at some analogues as well. So everything will be starting to crank up very shortly in terms of the next season ahead, which is autumn. But that's all for now, and that closes the book on the spring of 2017. So, well, thanks very much for sticking with those long-range updates, and keep coming back for the autumn updates. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.